Good morning, One Heart, One Mind Center for Spiritual Living. We have let's see, what should I call it? A pleasure to welcome our longtime friends who we haven't seen in a while, Ira and Julia, who are going to kick us off with some music to start our Sunday service. We're so glad you're here.
Yay!
And,
We're
and
really glad
Ira's
to be
mom,
here.
Sally, is here too. We love that.
Sally Levins.
So I thought we'd start with this covenant. On the fourth day of Christmas, my true love gave to me four calling birds, three French hens, two turtle doves, and a partridge in a pear tree.
We are still in the spirit of the holiday. We have probably 8 inches of snow outside our door. Everything is just gorgeous and just keeping us cozy and feeling the spirit of it all. So we extend this sweetness to you.
Here we come a-caroling among the leaves so green. Here we come a-wandering, so fair to be seen. Love and joy come to you, and to you glad tidings too. And we bless you and send you a happy new year. And we send you a happy new year. We are not daily beggars who go from door to door, but we're your neighbor's children, whom you have seen before. Love and joy come to you, and to you glad tidings too. And we bless you and send you a happy new year. And we send you a happy new year.
We changed the words a little bit here. To all the people in this house, we send our love to you, and all your friends and neighbors around your table true. Love and joy come to you, and to you glad tidings too. And we bless you and send you a happy new year. And we send you a happy new year. Here we come a-caroling. Here we come a-caroling.
Here we
come
a-caroling.
Here we come.
Here we come. Here we come. Here we come bringing the light of the carolers. Thank you for that. Yeah, it's kind of nice to savor a little bit more of that light. We'll talk about that a little bit later today too. So our practitioner of the day is our wonderful, dear friend who loves animals too, Ralane Clarke. Good morning, Ralane. Thanks for being here this morning with us. I know your world is a little interesting.
Thank you. It's good to be here.
Good.
That song was just beautiful. Thank
It
you.
was gorgeous.
So let us pray. Let us feel that light. Let us feel spirit. Let us feel all the goodness, all the blessings, all the peace, all the love, all the lightness of being. Just feel it and feel that oneness. We are one. We are one. We are one. And we are wonderful. And in this wonderfulness, we feel the beauty of the flow of God, the beauty of the flow of interconnection with all people, with all the lights. And so we know that when everyone shines their lights, it changes all our lives. And in a collective way, it changes our planet's life and our world. And I'm just so grateful. And I'm so grateful for this morning, for talking about divine light. I'm grateful for each and every one of you and your divinity. And I know as we go forward today, we hold the brightest light of all as we bring in the new year in our loving connection and compassion, kindness, and gratitude. And we simply say, as I release this prayer into divine law, we are grateful and we are all about love. And so it is. And so I thought this morning with my sharing, when Reverend Michelle was nice enough to share a little bit of her beginning of her talk. And so then I had lots to think about with her talks, as you guys will, I'm sure. But I was thinking about when I was young and I was trying to find my way and I discovered psychology and I just decided that I wanted to be a counselor. And I began to feel like I was shining my light as I became a counselor, helping others. And I also felt that I was growing as a person in compassion. And then at some point, I decided I wanted to be a mother. And so my husband and I decided to have a child. And then I found that I was shining my divine light as a mother. And it was really amazing. I remember one time I was watching my son at a soccer game when he was just a little guy, and all the kids were being really bad. They were climbing trees and playing instead of playing soccer. My son was playing soccer because I was watching, but also because he loves soccer, and maybe more than climbing trees. And but I just remember feeling like I loved being a mom, and I loved the divine light shining within me. Then, as I got older, I decided to move away from counseling and teaching, the real world stuff, and move into spiritual kinds of work as a spiritual practitioner and a Reiki master. Um, and at first, I felt like I didn't have that solid, well, I'm a counselor and I'm a teacher, feeling. But then I realized that I had always been expressing my divinity, even when I was a counselor and a teacher. And so I'm just kind of moving into deeper realms of my spirituality. And now, as my son has gotten into his adult years, what I've been finding is that my light, my divine light as a mother, is shining even brighter, and it's a different kind of light than just caring and doing and all those kinds of things you do for children. It's a deep love that helps I connect in my divine light with his divine light, and he shines his light back to me, and I can feel it. We can feel each other's divinity. And that's pretty cool. And we can have conversations. But before, he would say things like, "Mom, you're just too much into God," or something. But now he's like, he feels it. He receives the gratitude. He feels the divinity of each other, of us touching. So, my point of all this is that my divine light has shifted continually and expressed in deeper ways and in different ways. And I am excited to see where my divine light brings me uh, for future. But right now, I'm in the present moment, which is my favorite place to be. So that's what I thought about when Michelle was talking. It may be absolutely nothing that she's talking about, but
It's perfect.
anyway. So let's do our let's see. We're still in December, so we have that.
We are.
Yeah. December's affirmation. Okay, the light of the one life is alive in me now. It expresses its clarity, wholeness, and infinite possibility. I recognize this divine light in every person and every unfolding moment. I allow light, I allow the light within me to guide me on my way, expressing as my good. And so it is.
So it is. Perfect. No, you hit the nail on the head, Ralane. We're talking about being the light and letting really allowing it to become who we are as our spiritual identity, and taking us through this kind of transitional time that, however arbitrary from the calendar, that we're moving through into a new year. So no, you were right on. Thanks for that. And I'm going to invite uh, the Levins to give us some more music to move us into the next. It's transition and transformation.
Let there be light.
Let there be light.
From the vastness of outer space issued a plan to separate sea from sky and sand. But how to bring form to the night? Take a breath, make a wish, sing let there be light. Let there be light. Tonight, tonight, tonight. Tonight, tonight, tonight. In the depths of the forest we fashioned our drums to echo the heart-beating heat of the sun, and call it back from its dark winter's flight. Round a torch in a cave we sang, let there be light. Let there be light. Tonight, tonight, tonight. Tonight, tonight, tonight. In the wick of the candle, in the flame of your heart, there's an ember remembering back to the start. So if nothing is working out right, take a breath, make a wish, sing let there be light. Let there be light. Tonight, tonight, tonight. Tonight, tonight, tonight. Let there be light. Let there be light. Tonight, tonight, tonight. Tonight, tonight, tonight. Let there be light. Let there be light. Tonight, tonight, tonight. Tonight, tonight, tonight. Tonight, tonight, tonight.
Oh, that was beautiful.
That was a very
Yes.
beautiful song by our friend Billy Jonas.
Oh,
Let There Be
gorgeous, gorgeous. I love that. Yes, let's let there be light. Oh, so good morning again, and welcome to One Heart, One Mind Center for Spiritual Living, as we are continuing our journey through what we call the season of light. And our focus this month has been on discovering the light of God within us and throughout all of creation. I think I'm going to lose the glasses though. I think I need them right now. And so whether you're joining us in real time or you're listening to the replay, I invite you to join with us. Let's all join together in this shared vision, individually and collectively, that we experience the light as more than just a warm and fuzzy spiritual idea. that we feel it within us, we experience it in the world, that we have an intimate, lived experience of the light as we move into this next year. This is the last Sunday of 2025 and the end of the calendar year, which could be a really powerful time for kind of a conscious transition. We as people kind of dedicated to living spiritual principle, not only through our spiritual practices, but actively in our daily lives, we can use this time. We can use this time to pause and to reflect and to honor what we've just walked through, to acknowledge all of the blessings and the joys and the growth and even the challenges of the past year. I was talking about this in the meditation. And as our talk title suggests, today's talk title is it's a time for us to think about, to create a vision of how we want to carry the light forward into 2026. It's a time to release what no longer serves us. We say that all the time, release what no longer serves, to refresh and to renew the spiritual principles that we stand on, that we say we live by, who we are, how we live. It's a great time to take some time to kind of rededicate ourselves to consciously living in the light. And from this place, to remain open to fresh and inspired ways of bringing the light forward into the world, grounded in the insight that we've gained through the past year. We can make this a really powerful moment as conscious creators to live by the spiritual principle that we are one with God, that we are one with Source, and that consciousness always precedes form. We call it love and law. We are one with the love, with the Source, with the power of the universe, and we draw that forward into our lives through creative law. So let's start here. Let's start with basic spiritual principle. The world we experience with our five senses, the world we see, hear, smell, taste, and I leave one out, feel, is an expression of the mind of God, spirit, consciousness, the divine presence, whatever feels good to you, however you relate to that presence. And this presence, of course, is the source of everything. It's the infinite potential that we're one with. And let's be clear, we're not just a part of it. We're not just a piece of it. We're one with it, with its wholeness. We are one with its creative source and essence. And because we're one with it, we're creative too. And this creative power, this thing itself, as our founder Ernest Holmes called it, moves through our subjective or subconscious mind, whichever you want to call it, through our beliefs, through our faith, which becomes our state of being, and that becomes our physical reality, or what we call our human experience. And we're literally, not just poetically or metaphorically, we're literally one with the consciousness that precedes form. What a powerful idea. What a powerful realization or awareness that inherent within us is the creative agency of the divine, of our source, that we choose our experience, either consciously or unconsciously. We're doing it all the time. Before it arrives in form, from the state of our being. And I know that we talk about our oneness and our ability to co-create in the science of mind teaching all the time. But at this moment, where we are creating a conscious transition, we have the opportunity to pause for a moment and ask ourselves, do I just believe this? Do I just think about this? Or do I know this? Do I have an unshakable faith that this is so? Have I proved this principle in my life? And right now, where in my life would I like to prove this principle in an expanded way? how would I like to experience life in a state of peace and love and contentment? I love that word. Radiant joy or bliss, how do I want to do it? We get to choose. I mean, sign me up for the radiant joy and bliss. That's what I want to experience. And of course, we're not going to be there all the time, but we do get to choose. And for what it's worth, I would like to personally share with you what I have come to know, not just what I think or believe, but know. I know that we do not create from what we kind of, sort of wish and hope that we will experience in our lives. We create from who we know ourselves to be, from what we have embodied as our identity, from the energy we carry and the vibration from which we resonate, demonstration, manifestation, our human experience, whatever you want to call the end result, the effect. This isn't a negotiation with life or with law. It's an expression of our identity. It's kind of like a divine dance between who we know ourselves to be, who we feel, where we resonate, what we have embodied as our spiritual identity, and the action of creative law. Our human experience are an expression of this embodied faith. So we have to ask ourselves, what do we have faith in? Do we have faith that it is possible for us to live a life of peace, of love, and joy? And if we do believe that that's possible, then we have to establish that faith. Establish that faith so clearly and so deeply in our divine nature that nothing around us can press in on us and shake that faith. So clear and so deep that no previous experience can color what we know to be true at the deepest level of our being. Nothing outside ourselves can tell us who we know ourselves to be. I was thinking about some examples of this, and I thought about Anita Moorjani, who's an author who wrote that wonderful book, Dying to Be Me. I don't know if you've read it. It was a chronicle of her experience. She has an incredible story of spontaneous healing from terminal cancer, and how on her deathbed, hours from death, she actually didn't die, she had a near-death experience, and she was shown who she truly was, that she was awakened to her spiritual identity, that she was love itself, and that it was the reality of her being. And after her near-death experience, she came back into her body, and she was cancer-free within weeks. And she writes and speaks about the power of knowing who we are. And I'm thinking, if she could do that simply by knowing her spiritual identity, wow, did she ever prove principle? The power of knowing our divine identity beyond what we know through our limited five senses is what she healed her body with. And she asks us to imagine that in her book, she asks us to imagine that we're in this huge, dark warehouse, and the only light we have is from one small little flashlight, and that we know what's in this big, enormous warehouse only from what we can see by the beam of this one small flashlight. And Moorjani says that that's what physical life is like, that we're only aware of what we focus on at any given time. And we can only understand what we've already become familiar with. And then she goes on to ask us, now imagine that one day someone flicks a switch, and for the first time, it's like a sudden burst of brilliance and sound and color. and we can see the entire warehouse, and that it's nothing like anything we've ever imagined, seen before, or even imagined before. And she asks us to recognize the vastness and the complexity and the depth and the breadth of everything that is really going on in this warehouse that we've not been able to see before. But to feel now and to know that we are actually a part of this large unfolding movement of life that goes beyond sight and sound. And she invites us to understand that what we used to think about reality is, in fact, hardly a speck within the vast wonder that actually surrounds us. And she says that even when the light is switched off again, nothing can take away from our understanding and our clarity of the wonder and the beauty and the fabulous aliveness of the experience. Nothing can ever cancel our knowledge of that exists in the warehouse once we have experienced it. Life takes on a different meaning. And to me, this is the power of knowing, of embodying our divine identity. And we do this through our spiritual practice and by cultivating a deep, intimate, personal relationship with our own divinity. And then live in that divinity, live in the knowing that this is who we are. And this to me is the place where we create conscious transformation as we move into the new year. It's the transition that is possible for us to move into. The place of knowing and trusting who we are. That in our oneness with God, with spirit, the all that is, we are also, God is, but we also are big and vast. And well, we're infinite. And that our lives, our human reality, and everybody else's really has no limits, only the limits that we place on ourselves. Remember, one of my favorite, I use this all the time. You probably heard me say it. One of my favorite quotes from Holmes is, "We are bound because we are first free. And the power which appears to bind us is the only power in the universe that can set us free." And this power is alive and awake within us when we recognize it. And sometimes, many times, we aren't even consciously aware of what it is that's limiting us, the old beliefs or patterns that block our way. So, here we are in this time of conscious transition, creating a transformation as we transition into the new year. It can be a time of when we consciously realize who and what we are, and it can be a time to prepare ourselves to be the embodiment of the fullness of our divine nature in ways that we haven't really fully embodied before. To become in consciousness what we would like to experience in form in our human lives that is already true of us in our oneness with God. We're already it. I always like to say the gift has already been given. We don't have to create anything. It's already so. We're just revealing it. So let's start preparing ourselves for this powerful spiritual transition. And we can use a tool that we talk about a lot this time of year. It's called spiritual surrender. I release. We often, as the new year approaches, we think about what we want to release and the new vision that we want to hold. This is spiritual surrender. And spiritual surrender is not giving up. It's letting go. It's letting go of beliefs, of patterns, of thinking and feeling that don't reflect the spiritual resonance of our true spiritual identity. Surrender is letting go of any attachment we have to how things should look. Does anybody else have that? Well, it should look this way. I have to let go of how the healing should look, how the abundance should look, how the career, the relationship, or the love must appear. And then We surrender to the flow of the greater intelligence. That greater intelligence naturally wants to move through us. We just got to get whatever is in the way out of the way. Surrender is trust. Oh, I always think of Yvonne when I use that word. In that greater wisdom of the all that is. Holmes always reminded us, or still does if we read his stuff, that spirit is infinite givingness. I believe that's true. And that spirit already knows how to be itself. So our work is not to make something happen, but to stop obstructing what is already naturally expressing, what already wants to express through us. We surrender what's in the way. We surrender our fears. We surrender our doubts, our expectations of how things should be. As I said before, anything colored by our past experiences and what we've been taught by mostly very well-meaning people who have loved us and want the best for us. We surrender to an even greater reality. We surrender to how we feel when we move deeply into that space that is already within us of peace, of love, beauty, comfort in our inner world. There's this funny Peanuts cartoon that I thought of when I was putting this together. It shows Charlie Brown as the manager of the baseball team, and he's standing on the mound, the pitcher's mound, and Lucy approaches him and she says, I'm sorry I missed that easy fly ball. I thought I had it, but suddenly I remembered all the times that I'd missed it before. And then, then it shows her walking off the mound, and she says, the past just got in my eyes. These are the things we're called to surrender. All the woulda, coulda, shouldas that we think that color this moment, and they don't. We learn from our previous experiences and we take wisdom from them, but not the expectation of repeating them. In New Thought, we say the past holds no precedent because we are not bound by what has come before. The future is being created by what we are holding in our thoughts and in our feelings, our resonance and our state of being right now. That is our spiritual identity. And that is what the law grabs a hold of and demonstrates into our lives. We've been conditioned. Well, I can only really speak for myself, but I think most of us have been conditioned to believe that it's only by exerting great effort that we will produce change in our lives, that things change only by our physical effort, which is, Newtonian physics logic, and we can change things that way. That does work, but it takes time. We have to move through time and space. But metaphysics lives in the quantum world, outside of time and space. We call it the mind of God or the field of infinite potential. But it's here where we co-create in consciousness right now with the divine mind of love and the power of law. Here's where we embody a new cause and create change, not by physical effort, but by creating a vibrational match, the feeling tone of what we'd like to experience in our human lives. We become in consciousness what we'd like to experience in form. Consciousness precedes form. Say it all the time. We start with an assumption of our divine nature. This is who I am. This is what is already true within me in my oneness with God. And we allow that assumption to color our thinking, to color our feeling, which becomes over repetition, our state of being. And then that becomes our spiritual identity. And that is what we express in the world. Sometimes in our humanness, we might think that if we have a problem, we have to struggle to fix it. But our struggle is not proof of our faith. It's proof of our doubt and proof of our fear. And what I've come to realize about knowing who we are in God is that, just like the light just has to be itself, it just has to be to dispel the darkness. And all I have to do is embody the divine nature to dispel my doubt and to dispel my fear. Making the space to kind of hold the feeling of the answered prayer, or the joyous experience, or the healing, or the divine reality of what already exists in God. We don't even have to struggle to let go of what isn't true. We just have to move into what is true. Let the light dispel the darkness. We have to move into the vibrational reality of what we'd like to experience, and then allow it to express itself. And then, we're just being the light. And then the light lights our way. Moving into the new year always gets me thinking about my personal spiritual growth and expansion, looking at what spiritual practices I've been using and what spiritual tools I've been using that I might want to expand on or freshen up a bit, or how can I go deeper into spiritual truth and live from my divine nature. This time kind of ignites my desire to dive into places that I've never gone before and to awaken more of my divine nature and to transform any fear that I still might be carrying around that until now I haven't even recognized, by the power of love, to live in alignment with my divine nature in such a way that faith rises naturally from my state of being. I was thinking about, Steph, I could do a whole talk, but we have faith in a lot of things. I want to have faith in my own spiritual reality so naturally that it just becomes who I am. you know. And I have to say that at the same time, I want to fully honor my human experience because I am divinely human. We all are. And to bring the light of my divinity into my everyday life. I realize this is kind of a lofty vision, but I believe that ordinary people can do extraordinary things any day, anytime. I mean, we can step into knowing more fully who we are just by our desire to know who we are and to live from that spiritual identity, just grounded in the reality that all things are birthed from source and that whatever we desire, we can bring forward. So, what does it actually look like to carry the light forward into our daily lives? And from this deeper place, not just putting on a positive or a happy face, but rooted in the higher reality of love. Well, again, I believe it just begins with presence, with remembering that wherever we are, we're the light of God, and that we can bring the light into any situation, the light of love, the light of kindness, of compassion, or whatever is needed in any given situation. When we, slow down and listen more deeply and respond rather than react, the light becomes visible through our awareness of it. And then we kind of intuitively know what to bring into any situation or circumstance. We carry the light with our words by speaking from spiritual principle rather from old patterns, choosing compassionate language, language that honors and acknowledges what is right in front of us, but at the same time knows the possibility of what is true in God, shaping our emotional and mental atmosphere with our words. We can speak peace and we can speak love and abundance and wholeness with grace, even when conditions haven't caught up with our words yet. Consciousness comes first. Form follows. Consciousness precedes form. We carry the light into the world through the simple ways that we just show up in love and be who we are, the light of the world, in our relationships, in our work, our service, our choices, just through our choices. And not always through grand gestures, but just through everyday simple acts of integrity, kindness, love. Carrying the light forward isn't about being more, or I'm sorry, it isn't about doing more. It's about being more of who we already are, remembering more. And then from this awareness, this sense of trust, we embody the light, and then life responds in kind, just like a lighthouse. We generate light from within and we send it out. So, on that note, I want to end with a little levity. I'm going to just read what I have here. I ran across this and I thought, oh, what a fun way to end our talk about carrying the light forward. So, here it is. This is a transcript of an actual radio conversation of a U.S. naval ship with Canadian authorities off the coast of Newfoundland in October in 1995. So here's the Americans. Please divert your course 15 degrees to the north to avoid collision. Canadians. Recommend you divert your course 15 degrees to the south to avoid collision. Americans, this is the captain of a U.S. Navy ship. I say again, divert your course. Canadians, no, I say you divert your course. Americans, this is the aircraft carrier USS Lincoln, the second largest ship in the United States Atlantic Fleet. 3 destroyers, 3 cruisers, and numerous support vessels accompany us. I demand that you change your course to 15 degrees north. That's 15 degrees north, or countermeasures will be undertaken to ensure the safety of this ship. Canadians, it makes me laugh every time. This is a lighthouse. Your call. I thought that was so funny. Be the lighthouse. Be that strong and that grounded in who we know we are. I thought that was really, I ran across it and I was like, oh my God, I gotta share that. Be the lighthouse. I also like this time of year, I like that saying about be the shamash, the candle in the middle of the menorah that lights all the other candles. Love that too. Anyway, be the lighthouse as we move forward in our with our spiritual identity, which I think is so important. So let's pray. Let's just take a breath. So I am knowing for all of us that we know in fresh, new ways who we are. That within us is the allness of God, and that there are no limits, there are no boundaries on what and where we can go spiritually, emotionally, in our physical life. That we are already whole in our health. We are whole in our abundance and our financial wealth. We are whole in our relationships and our ability to show up with love. And we are whole in the work that we do in the world, that we matter, that we shine the light. I know this for all of us. I know this for everyone on this call, for everyone that is not on this call, for the totality of human consciousness. We raise to the level of knowing who we are and what is possible for us individually and collectively as life. So I'm just grateful for this. I know it for myself. I know it for you. I know it for all. I relax in that because demonstration is rest. It is not activity. It is resting in the truth of our being. So from that place, I release my word, and together we say, and so it is. So it is. And so it is. So I do know that Lisa, I believe you are doing the sacred giving today. I actually looked on the schedule instead of showing up and go, oh, was it?
Happening, my
There you go. We can hear you. Okay, I think all of us know how to give. I can put up the ways to give. We got a couple of extra people here. Here we
yeah.
go.
Yeah, as we know, it's our time for contribution.
Yep.
And a good way to remind ourselves that we're co-creators of one heart, one mind, that we're all one, and that is a part of our way of expressing our gratitude for being able to exist as a spiritual group and community that loves each other. So, on the screen, the ways to give. I don't know what's happening to my voice, but
That's okay. It's not awake yet.
it's not under my control today for some reason. At any rate, mostly we do Venmo, and then there's Reverend Michelle's address, which I'll read for people who maybe not on the screen. 1338 Idaho Avenue, Escondido, California, 92027.
Perfect. I just realized I know who we're missing today. We're missing Betty and we're missing Renata. Both of them are.
Yeah, we are.
They must be off having fun somewhere else. Good for them. We wish them well.
Yes, indeed.
All right. Hang on. And here is our sacred giving affirmation.
I give with a grateful heart, knowing that spirit is the source and substance of all supply. I joyfully participate in the circulation of abundance. My offering blesses the world and returns to me multiplied. I am grateful and I am prosperous. And so it is.
And so it is. Oh, yes, and so it is. So announcements, we'll do the Monday evening prayer group, and I will be there. I will attend. Tuesday, we're skipping this Tuesday, and then we're going to return on, I want to say, I think it's the 6th of January for our continuation of A Return to Love with Marianne Williamson's book. And then, you know what, I played with the idea of doing something for New Year's Day, but I think we might just do it on our Sunday service, do a brief little ritual about entering into the new year. Because the day before is going to be a big day for my husband. And we're going to be doing that long 5-hour brain scan thing. So that I think I'd rather just relax on New Year's Day and and talk about it on our Sunday service. So Lisa, you want to do a benediction, and then we'll ask Ira and Julia to sing us out.
All righty. So let us pray. I am so grateful that we are gathered together in this time of transition. It's perfect that each year we have the opportunity to be reminded of the light that lives in each and every one of us and in everything on the planet and is totally connected with Source and what makes us all united as one infinite connection. Sorry. And so anyway, I know that each and every one of us feels blessed by this service and ready to in their own way to carry forth their identity as bearers of the light and to know that the love and joy and funness and whoever you are, whatever you feel and however you see yourself offers a special and unique gift to anyone that you come in contact with. And I know that each and every one of us can move forward with love and kindness and joy and total expression. And so I know I'm so grateful that we have the teachings that we have that allow us to look at these deeper kinds of issues and to remind ourselves that our lives are more than just the 3D world and the challenges that take up our time and our life, and that the light is always there, whether we're actually seeing it at the moment or not. And I love that phrase from the song that the Levins sang, light a torch in a cave and let there be light. I just think that's a nice metaphor for life in a sense. And so I'm so grateful for the teaching, and I release my word into the law, and we can release it together by saying, and so it is. Sorry.
Beautiful. Thank you. Thank you, sweetheart.
Yeah.
All right, now we'll go for some music here.
Thank you, Lisa. That was lovely.
That was lovely, Lisa.
And,
As always.
you know, we're a lighthouse. Your call. That's awesome.
Yeah, I
That was like the greatest.
a lighthouse.
A tale that's still holding up. All right, so we're very grateful. We're going to be ushering in the light. We loved your talk, and we just wanted to tell you before we celebrate all together here that we are on our website, thelevinsmusic.com. We have a new album.
Yay. We do.
Yes,
It's
so
very
we have
exciting.
a download there as well as vinyl and CDs, and we're very excited about the new album.
Oh, I'm going to have to go check it out. And I do want to tell you that I saw your email, and February will work for us.
It will?
It will.
Yeah.
It won't. It does work. Okay.
Excellent.
Yeah, yeah.
Excellent.
Good. That's
right.
awesome. Well, here's
a song we can all sing together. Should old acquaintance be forgot and never brought to mind? Should old acquaintance be forgot and old lang syne? For old lang syne, my dear, for old lang syne, we'll take a cup of kindness yet for old lang syne. To have wandered through the slopes and picked the daisies fine, but we've wandered many a weary mile since old lang syne, and we too have paddled in the stream from morning sun till dine, but seas between us broad have roared since old lang syne. For old lang syne, my dear, for old lang syne, we'll take a cup of kindness yet for old lang syne. So here's a hand, my trusty friends, give me a hand of thine. We'll take a goodwill draft, my dears, for old lang syne. For old lang syne, my dears, for old lang syne, we'll take a cup of kindness yet for old lang syne. For old lang syne, my dears, for old lang syne, we'll take a cup of kindness yet for old lang syne. And for the new times as well.
And for the new times as well, which is kind of the, I mean, old lang syne means to pause, right? Am I getting this right? Means
For all the old
For the old times,
times.
but the idea of that the idea of separation seems to have separated us, but for the beauty and love that we are connected, and we will take that cup of kindness yet and
with
be
us
reunited.
as we move. Yeah, yeah. Great. Beautiful. Yeah, I years ago I had no idea what that meant, and I had to look it up. What does that mean?
For
But
old
it's a
times'
beautiful
sake.
And
picture.
the verses are so old too. I mean, the way they were, Robert Burns. It's a poem by Robert Burns, so it's a
Yeah.
beautiful, reminder that all of these memories that we are making and the people that we are having, that we have with us, or that we have lost over the years, or that we wish were with us, we're bringing them all along with us always. And as we head into our new year, we bring them with us. We bring Yvonne with us. We bring everyone with us. And just that holy space into
Recapturing the
all.
essence of our
Yeah.
relationships. Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's more and more important these days, the people, the connections, and the community. So
So true.
here's to that and more of that in our new year.
Beautiful. Well, that is a delightful place to stop. So I am going to go ahead and stop our recording.